Greetings, world. Timothy reporting from the Hard Times Trail, Asheville, North Carolina. Reporting from the absolute depths of my own dark night of the soul and reporting to the world in its own dark night. Now, indeed, for months and months, we've been terming this year of 2020 as a mini dark age. And though it is not the actual apocalypse, certainly today, Wednesday, March 18th, is Hump Day of Paranoia Week, and we are filming this under a Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn occultation. And it certainly feels like it may be the apocalypse or may be the end of the world. I don't know if too many people don't feel like they have a scratchy throat or a runny nose at this particular time. Now, we are not only beginning to see but feel this reality of our current circumstance. And it can be absolutely intense, absolutely overwhelming, scary. In fact, I'm prescribing all of us, particularly this week, our number one priority is relaxation. And even if we need a time clock to clock in and out of that bath time, see it as doing really important, integral work. And indeed, the Hard Times Trail is a little bit busier for a weekend here in the United States. Not to scare anyone, of course, but things are not just about to blow over or settle down. This is the beginning of the global socio-economic revolution we've been discussing. And hopefully you're at least a little slightly prepared or anticipated this time, because it's not over. And hopefully we have our 2 feet on the earth and are grounded in reality. It's Jupiter joining Pluto with Mars and Saturn in the last degrees of Capricorn, all together on the south nodes of Pluto, of Saturn. And wouldn't you know who's behind it all? The ruler of all this change, the most powerful influence, really the king of our lives and our solar system? No, it's not just Jupiter. No, it's not Neptune, who rules ultimate spiritual reality, but Pluto, the ruler of human reality and the cause of our actual full spectrum experiences, which catalyzes evolution. Now, there are 2 types of evolution correlated with Pluto. And the first type is the very slow, barely perceivable type that is going on all the time. And then there is what is called cataclysmic evolution, which is particularly correlated to the influence of Pluto. We are now in a period of necessary cataclysmic evolution. Pluto rules human biology, biological disease, and biological mutation. The human, presently speaking, has resulted from many Plutonian full-spectrum experiences and biological mutation, and will be emerging from this dark night of the soul as a powerful mutant that I am, and so will our species. Because it is not just a simple penalty or a punishment that we are receiving, or some insane conspiracy theory that we are all collectively experiencing. This is natural, collective, biological nature. This is real life, real human experience, Pluto, which our species has and will continue to experience time and time again. So, the astrology of coronavirus, Jupiter, the planet of awareness and expansion, joining Pluto, the catalyst of evolution and ruler of human biology. They are exactly aligned in 2.5 weeks, April 4th. Mars, the lower octave of Pluto, also the planet of human physical nature, as well as instincts and instinctual reaction. Joining Jupiter this Friday, March 20th, and then Pluto Monday, March 23rd. This is an intensely charged week. This all accompanies our forthcoming new moon at the 4 degrees of Aries, conjoined with Chiron on the 24th. This new moon is also ruled by Mars in the sign of Aries, and this new moon is squaring her own nodes, which is why I'm describing this partial period standing our ground by accepting or denying, because we have the free will to accept or deny reality, our shadows, our healing journey, or not. And now I don't just mean coronavirus and the worldly drama, I also mean what's going on close to home in highly unique ways on the individual dimension as well. Because as it turns out, the microcosm and the macrocosm is interconnected, and we may be certainly experiencing this interconnection at this time. This is where the hidden blessings will unfold through the time to come. In my last video, I gave the recommendation to pay attention to and notice what the so-called leaders and teachers, if they are ignoring, bypassing, covering up, oh, it's nothing, oh, it's just in your mind, oh, love, all light. Use your discernment to X these folks out of your reality, because they are not so much just a simply distraction at this particular point in time. These ideas and notions can be potentially dangerous. Now, I've heard even very recently from a few folks, Tim, you're so anti-New Age, you're so anti-love and light, you complain so much, you're so full of darkness and negativity. So I would like to personally use this time to disclose part of why I am the way that I am when it comes to all of this. Personally, I have been a first-hand witness to New Age teachers and leaders causing lifelong and serious harm and damage to their students, to their followers, through this denial, avoidance of shadow, and of the healing journey. Therefore, I will continue to be leading and addressing what I have learned through my own personal experience, because I'm starting to realize how much more alone I am in this than I realized I was before. Chiron joining the new moon, squaring the moon's nodes. It is time to take a stand, to do what's right, to act from what we have learned in our unique and our individual experience, to heal your confidence, to do what is necessary for continued healing and for continued growth. Not only is it Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn in a stellium in Capricorn, which is why all the astrologers knew this was a year of global change. It's also asteroid Pallas Athena, Lady Justice, and she is encouraging us also to take a stand for what is necessary to bring harmony, balance, justice to humanity. Both Pallas Athena and Chiron are the defenders of the underdog, the defenders of the outspoken and the downtrodden. Now, at the same time, we have to be careful that we are not getting all worked up the way it's too easy to right now, expending all of our energies, spending all of our resources. Again, as we've been saying, the panic is far more dangerous than this virus itself. Or declaring war on others in such a way that is avoiding or denying our own wounds, our own pain, and our own healing journey. I especially need to be careful of this as a fight-type personality. This is how I have learned to cope with my wounds and my pain in the past. So I especially need to be careful, and that's the point. With Jupiter conjoining Pluto, we're all seeing how we cope, how we deal with darkness, fear, and pain, and that's revealing. This is a time of collective shadow work, and this can be incredibly productive, incredibly revealing, incredibly healing, and informative. This is the reprioritization we've been discussing all of this year. And it's not only when we're on a 30-day silent retreat, but also when shit hits the fan, Pluto, that we learn about our truth, and we learn about what's beneath the surface. Now, coming up in just a few days, of course, we got our spring equinox coming up. The moment the sun enters the sign of Aries, we have our new astrological year. And this is increased energy, increased direction, increased awareness, very dynamic period that we're entering. Saturn is also entering into the sign of Aquarius March 21st. He will station retrograde May 11th at the 2nd degree of Aquarius before moving retrograde back into Capricorn July 1st and then going back into Aquarius at the very end of this year, the winter solstice, December 21st. Wherever Saturn is, we are experiencing challenges. And it's not punishment, it's not just penalty, it serves our evolution. In order to meet certain demands, uphold certain responsibilities, learn by overcoming certain obstacles. Now, Aquarius is the sign of humanity, interconnectivity, as a species all around the globe. That most obvious Aquarian technology that we've been recently introduced to is the internet, which we may be getting even more closely accompanied with in the years to come. This is the necessary challenge at this time, interconnecting the globe. This is the necessary, required, no ifs, ands, or buts about interconnecting the world. This is the challenges that Saturn forces upon us. And this has been an incredibly Saturnarian time. We are seeing Saturn at the final degree of his own sign of Capricorn at this moment. And this is a part of why there is a theme of survival. Saturn rules wintertime. Are we going to survive the wintertime? In our historical past, do we have enough food, enough clothing, enough shelter? And yet, through the experience of Saturnarian rites of passage, we become initiated into our true strength, our true responsibility, maturity, etc. Saturn initiates us into our strength by putting obstacles into our path. It's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign of needing to be punished. We can look all throughout human history. We've survived these times before. We will experience these times again in the future. Now, what are some of those Saturnarian obstacles that he places in our path in the sign of Aquarius? Well, one of those keywords for Aquarius is isolation. Saturn being held, gravity being contained on our own, Aquarius. Aquarius is also science. Science is being Saturn challenged to discover the scientific remedy that is necessary, and the forward thinking and the revolutionary new directions, Aquarius, for the survival of our species. Very quickly, anti-vaxxers, do your research on the history of pandemics. Conspiracy theorists, put it to rest. There are beliefs that are detrimental to possess, regardless of whether they are true or not. We need to place trust in Aquarius, humanity. We have to trust humanity for the survival of our species. And we will survive. We are survivors. We will come together to support one another in new ways, different ways, improved ways, and this is a fast-paced time of evolution. Cataclysmic evolution is where we go through the fastest-paced evolution, progress, innovation in the shortest amount of time. Because yes, there's that experience of we don't have a choice. I like to use the analogy of when this Earth was originally inhabited by dinosaurs, and then an asteroid smacks the Earth, kicks up a huge dust cloud, and all of the life forms on this planet changes very rapidly. Now, we've all experienced this through times of our life. We've all had Pluto transits. We've had these atom bombs drop before. We've had these dust clouds kick up before. And it takes time for that dust cloud to clear, for things to settle down into a new structure or a new form. But the opportunity is in this reprioritization, in this restructuring, and coming clean through out to the other side in a brand new world. a brand new society, and once again, it will be a brand new social economic situation. Now, I am here for you through this time. Astrology, thank God, is here to give us a light at the end of a tunnel. By the way, you can, on my Patreon page, any amount of money a month, $1 a month, you can join our online Rasalila chat where we are here to answer you and actively support one another. $6 a month, extra videos, $12 a month to join our live Q&A where you bring in your birth chart, can ask any personal questions, what's going on in your life. We'll be having our next live Q&A coming up this next weekend, Sunday the 22nd. Evolutionary astrology, which is an incredibly Pluto-centric branch of astrology, which addresses what's very deeply going on beneath the surface, as well as what really matters the most in terms of our human experience. Why we incarnate is to serve our own soul's evolution. And I want to reaffirm to you that everything is right on time. It's not actually the end of the world, though it may feel like it, especially today, trying to get this out soon. This is the beginning of what's to come. We'll make it through this passageway as we have before, as we are right now, and as we will in the future. Again, I am here for you. Please feel free to leave your comments below. I'm available on my website. Again, we have this growing community on my Patreon community. I think we're all going to be becoming more interconnected in newer and exciting ways. And so I do have to say I am looking forward to this light at the end of the tunnel. We are all in this together. This is a time that reminds us, that brings us back to our senses of what humanity is really about. And there have already been on this planet millions of souls suffering from all sorts of illness, all such sorts of pain, all sorts of suffering. And this is a time where we can reprioritize to understand what really matters is us healing each other, coming together, supporting one another on each other's healing journey, not the divisionism, not the declaring war, although this is the challenge to overcome with Saturn and Aquarius. So once again, I am wishing absolutely the best to you and all of your beloveds. Practice that bath time. This is the week where relaxation is our homework assignment. Even if you need a time clock to clock in and out of that bath, see it as doing the really important and really integral spiritual work. Take care.